Hello and welcome to Goa 365's Face to Face. We have seen a dip in corona cases over the past couple of months, but now slowly cases are beginning to rise, not only in Goa, all over India. So with me is Dr. Lenny Costa. He's been here on this show before and we've spoken about probably the same topic but a couple of months back. So he's there again. I would like to introduce him. Dr. Lenny, consulting geriatric physician. Doctor, welcome to our show once again.
Good evening and thank you for having me here.
Yeah, Doctor, now give us a lowdown, give us a status of what exactly is happening. Last time you had said the things may keep on happening, but now what is the scene as of now, as of today? And so maybe after a month down the line.
So what I'm going to be saying might shock a lot of my colleagues, but I'm going to say this anyways. This is bound to happen. Today, COVID is no longer a pandemic. It's a virus that is endemic. Now, what does that mean? It means that the virus is already living in us. See, our body is made of viruses as well. Lots of viruses live in us. Like a common cold virus, this is also there. So, whenever you would have got your seasonal flu, which is at this time normally every year, where we would get normal common cold, that is when many of these COVID variants will show up. So people will test positive. Now, having said this, let me explain to you some of the cases that I see.
Okay.
I've been seeing people who have gone for major functions coming back with a cold. We treat them like a normal common cold because there's nothing different. The nose running, a little bit of cough, a little bit of fever, body ache, very common signs. Also common to some of the people who get COVID these days. But I don't send them for a test, so neither do they want to go for a test. So we generally treat them as we would have treated any common cold with an antihistaminic or sometimes even a
symptomatic treatment.
Symptomatic treatment. Okay. We give them that symptomatic treatment. I'll tell you, out of at least 10 or 12 cases over the last 2 weeks that I personally treated, 6 or 7 of them have tested positive after the symptoms have gone. Obviously, because you probably had it right through and it takes some time for the dead virus particles to disappear and for the RT-PCR to come negative. They had to do the RT-PCR because they were traveling or their office required it, but there were no symptoms anymore. Now, that is taken as a statistic of people, of the cases rising. None of these so-called cases that are rising are landing up in the hospital. Various reasons for that. Everything from vaccinations to the fact that the virus is very weak today. It's a weakened variant of the virus. So there is no need to get panicked about this and treat it like a normal endemic disease that is there. Why is this important? Because 90% of the times we get sick and that sickness kind of gets magnified because of the stress levels associated with it. And COVID though has a lot of stress levels associated with it, right from the business aspects of it to the economic aspects of it to the fact that we were getting back to normal and now people are thinking we're going to go back into lockdown.
Yeah, that is a big issue.
I think all that has to be kept aside and you need to look at it very logically and very pragmatically. None of these cases are landing up in the hospital. This is a very mild infection. We are expecting it to be mild infections. Even if the Delta variant is seen today, it will not affect you as badly as it had affected us a year and a half ago or a year ago, around the same time. So looking at it going forward, I see it more like another common cold virus, but you need to be a little careful because you need to start treating it the moment you get it. You can't neglect it. Many of us have a common cold, we don't go to the doctor. We think that we can take something from the pharmacy and we are all right. That will not work here. You need to see your doctor. You need to start very early. The moment you have a throat or any of the symptoms, throat pain, cough, nose running, body ache, you need to do it as early as possible because the later you start the treatment, you will find that recovery takes a little longer. You feel lethargic for a longer period of time. You don't have energy levels for a longer period of time. So you need to treat it early, but you don't need to panic.
Yeah, but treating it early means, like, for example, and also wait, before I go into that, now we have been hearing that now there are some new symptoms of this COVID. You get diarrhea, you get conjunctivitis, but there is no issue with smell and all. Is that something?
Yes, so that is another reason why I say that you can't differentiate between today's common cold and a COVID virus, and therefore, you know, I don't know whether we should actually get everybody tested like it was suggested today morning. One of the newspapers carried that article saying that experts suggest that if you get even a common cold symptom, go and get it tested. There are chances that even your common cold can test positive on RT-PCR, and there is some literature to that effect as well. So are those really all COVID cases? We don't know. Having said that, see, understand that this is a virus. Any viral infection will manifest certain other symptoms depending on how your body's own immunity is, whether it's a diarrhea or a conjunctivitis. But those are not common symptoms. Those are rare. They do happen.
Okay.
They could be a symptom that you see with somebody who's had COVID. Why? Because probably he's wiped his nose and then touched his eyes. So you'll get conjunctivitis. Is it something that is directly related to this? Yes, because he's touched his nose and touched his eyes and it's carried the virus there. That could be a reason for that. Diarrhea, yes, we do get it because it does affect your gut in some way or the other. Even earlier we were getting it. There was a paper which said that even earlier when the first in 2020 there was a paper that I read which said that even you can get the virus through your feces, and so flushing in Bombay there was a big issue in societies because flushing of thing was supposed to be so that had to be kind of dispelled with, and people had to be told don't worry about all that nonsense that's going on. So diarrhea is something that was there, and many viral infections, including sometimes even a flu, does give you a diarrhea. So that's not something different to COVID, right? But yes, what I said by saying that you need to treat early is if you have fever today, treat that fever symptomatically. Today.
Don't wait for it.
Don't wait for it to go off on its own. Don't think that your body is superhuman. Treat it. You don't know what it is.
Treatment means
you take a paracetamol, right? If you're supposed to go to a doctor.
Exactly.
What would you do when you're sick? You go to a doctor. Don't wait to treat yourself. Don't think you know everything. That is where the intervention from the person is very important. Understanding that you need to look at it right at the beginning, treat it, and take action at the beginning. Don't wait for it to get worse because it takes longer for it to disappear.
Recovery. But is it an issue? COVID recovery is an issue right from the Delta time, which was like one.
It is still an issue because people generally don't treat it. I will tell you what happened.
Don't treat it. What do you mean don't?
I'll tell you what happened. Yesterday, I was told by somebody who tested positive for COVID that they went to a government health center and all that they were given was a vitamin C.
Okay. As treatment?
As treatment.
Or after?
No, as treatment.
Okay.
She just tested positive.
Fever.
So they said you don't have fever right now.
Okay.
Just give vitamin C.
Okay.
Now, I look at it a little differently. I say, hey, listen, you have this, you're getting a little bit of nose running. Treat it like what you would treat a normal common cold. Treat it symptomatically. There is evidence today that if you give certain antihistaminics, it doesn't spread fast, it resolves faster.
Like a cold, no?
Like a cold. There is evidence. There are certain papers that I've read. We use that today.
Okay.
So it resolves faster. The faster you resolve, the less is the long-term effect. The long-term effect is generally low energy levels. You feel very weak. You don't have the energy. It's not even weakness. It's more of the energy levels. You don't feel like doing anything. You're feeling very lethargic. That is what is the complaint that we see from very many patients who come to us post-COVID. They could have had COVID in the month of May, but they still have kind of lethargy even now. The primary reason being they've gone to the doctor on the third or fourth day.
Okay.
So you're letting that virus, kind of work on you.
Make it stronger.
So you attack it on the first day itself, and it does what it has. I mean, you have benefits over the long term.
But now lethargy also, suppose if you have a very bad cold or very bad flu or something, that lethargy is there along with that also. This is more.
No. So this is a little more.
Okay.
This is a little more. You know that you can feel that. It's a little
you are a little down.
Yeah. It's much more than what you would see in common cold, and that's what we also have been getting from patients.
And then for you to get out of it, you feel. I mean, like it takes effort.
It takes time. It takes an effort.
Yeah, and then you need any specific treatment or any.
So we generally do
vitamins.
Yeah. So I have been doing a lot of, whatever experience that I've had, I've seen people who have been taking regular vitamin D, specifically vitamin D, and some amount of vitamin C regularly. They get out of it faster, but many of them don't get affected, even if they are among people who are affected.
Okay.
And I've been getting this both from my own personal experience and from people who I've treated, because They come and tell me, doc, we've not had it, but my family is having it. Only difference is that this gentleman has been taking vitamin D for a long period of time regularly. His vitamin D levels are good. The others are not.
So vitamin D, lot of doctors have been saying.
Yes, vitamin D does help in these conditions. Vitamin C does. So if you take your vitamins regularly, you eat a good, nutritious, balanced diet. See, what happens with COVID patients also is, when they get COVID, they have a little bit of lack of appetite.
Taste.
So they don't eat, because of taste. So they don't tend to eat a very balanced diet. So if you put a balanced diet in place, the recovery of this lethargy also comes out quite fast.
See, I would like to shift little bit now. You are you specialize in the older people also. Now, how would is this COVID hits older people 60, 65, 70 worse than what it would be below?
So now we are looking at it that it's more or less the same. A 28-year-old will get it the same intensity as an elderly.
No much difference.
Not much of a difference. Only chances are that a person, let me explain this to you. This current Omicron that is going around could work like a vaccine as well, because generally, because after this, whatever you're getting, you're not going to get very severe infections. And that is what we are seeing as well. Not many people are getting reinfected after Omicron. If they get, it's not a very heavy infection. Having said that, I see a lot of old patients who come to us with a cold, with COVID, not really as badly affected, even if they have comorbid conditions, as they used to get earlier. Earlier, everyone who's had a heart disease, or especially diabetes, would really get badly affected by COVID. We don't see that today. It's like over the board is the same. But having said that, I always tell the elderly patient, you need to report to a doctor the moment you have any symptoms, fast, early. It's very important for them.
Is this because a lot of the population, I remember last when we were talking, you said a lot of the population either have been vaccinated or they have been infected. Is this because of that
so
the deaths are less, hospitalization is less?
So you're right. So there are three factors. One is the fact that there is a good amount of population that has got infected once or twice. That is giving you some immunity. The second is the fact that we have got vaccinated does provide you not the immunity to prevent the infection, but at least the body is already exposed to it, so it can handle it better, and therefore you will have a milder disease. But the third and most important thing that all of us forget is the natural life cycle of a virus is that it weakens over a period of time. As it gets endemic, it becomes weaker and weaker. We've seen it with the Spanish flu, we've seen it with many other viruses, and that is in virology. If you ask a virologist, he will tell you this, that over the years it starts becoming weaker and weaker. So all three have played a role in what we are seeing today.
Because initially when it came, it spread like wildfire.
Exactly. Because the body was not used to it, so it would get affected by anybody. Today, there are so many who don't get it. I, for example, have been around in the last 2 weekends with so many people who have gotten infected. I didn't get it. I remember my wife got it 6 months ago, second time, and we shared the same bed. I didn't get it. And I got to know of it only after the whole thing had passed off, because she had to test positive because she had to travel. She had to go somewhere. So she tested and she found herself positive.
But initially you got a very bad case of this.
That was way back in 2020. Yes, yes, and we treated ourselves. But after that, I've never had this. Possibly because I keep that vitamin balance in myself. I do take vitamin D regularly. I give my patients.
I think everybody is got, as you are aware, like we've been quarantined twice already.
Exactly.
And vaccine has been, we've taken the vaccine, but still, so maybe, but what do you feel now? Everybody, these people are talking about booster. What is this booster thing? Do we take a vaccine again? Like it's 1 year since you've taken a vaccine, or 1.5 years. Do we take a vaccine again? What is the future for
So it's the same thing as a flu shot. See, the flu shots were also being given all over. But you see, as a child, we all got flu. As kids in India, we all got flu. We never took flu shots, neither did our parents at that time. But after that, it was felt that even in geriatric cases, they felt that if you give a flu shot, it's better so that the patient
milder
attack. That was for flu. And every year the flu vaccines also changed. They changed depending on where you were because of the strains that were there. Evolution of the strains, right? So every year they changed. Similarly, you're going to see with these boosters. Automatically, right now, I believe these boosters may or may not work. I can't even say it. But over a period of time, if you're looking at taking COVID vaccines as booster shots, they will slowly have to be evolving like the flu shots, wherein you will see them being given for specific strains at specific areas, if you want to take them. There are others who will attain a good amount of immunity for themselves and will get these infections like they would get a common cold. This will happen. We need to understand that it's here to stay, and you cannot shut down businesses, you cannot shut down life just because of this. And I believe that the press has to play a role in this by not highlighting how many numbers are coming up, because these numbers are going to happen as the economy opens up. And if you look at really percentages, the economy has opened up fully, the percentages are not that high.
Yeah, especially like the functions are happening, and then there are, but it's
much more curtailed.
But okay, now one thing I wanted to ask you is that, is this there going to be these waves up and down? What exactly is, why
it's
is
not
it
a
up,
wave.
down,
See,
up,
we
down?
are looking at it as waves. We always had an incidence of high flu at the time when monsoon started. Always, June, July, we always had it. It's coinciding with that. Come October, November, as the winter season sets in, you will have a similar thing. I mean, the way we look at it, it is basically seasonal. It's going to get seasonal.
Okay.
Some people are prone to getting this because their immunity goes down when the seasons change. Not everybody has it.
Also, can we say that initially when this virus hit us, like nobody knew what it was? So is it that today doctors are becoming more aware, they're seeing more patients, they're seeing more symptoms, they've learned how to treat it better? What is it? Is this something you can say with some degree of certainty?
Yes, see, most of the treatments that we give today are more symptomatic. So it's out of experience. But more than that, like I said, the virus is losing its strength. It's becoming much less virulent. And that has helped doctors quite a bit. Initially, we didn't know it because we've not seen anything like this.
Yeah, it was like
as you start treating it and you understand what is happening. See, even in the second wave, when it was bad for us, specifically in Goa, a lot of people got saved because doctors knew what was happening already, right? It was not as bad as what Europe saw in the first wave.
First wave, yeah. They got completely
taken away. So that is a huge. There was a huge jump, but then the virus was still very virulent then. And at that time we were also actively vaccinating, something that normally your preventive social medicine people who actually go into epidemiology, basically the epidemiologists, would tell you that, hey, listen, you don't normally do vaccinations at the height of a pandemic. But we had no choice because our economics was totally down. Everything, life was at a standstill. We needed to see how we can fight this. So we did, and we did have our own challenges at that point in time. But from there, if you look at the third wave was a no wave at all.
Came and went.
It just came and went. It didn't affect anybody. This one, we are seeing it because over the last 3 months there were no cases absolutely. And so now the small spurt that comes up, we are talking of it as a wave. It's not really a wave. Yes, you will see it for the next 1 or 2 weeks. After that, it will again die down.
Okay.
You will see it. You will see those numbers, 800, 80, 90, 100. Across the country, you will see 1,000, 5,000, 7,000. But that's such a small number depending on the numbers that we had earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't really call this a wave.
Okay.
And you will see this at every time the weather changes. It's seasonal, like a seasonal flu.
Yeah, you keep on saying it is going to be seasonal.
It is going to be seasonal.
But it's there. It will be there.
Yes, it's not going to go away.
And what about this now? Bombay, all the political the powers are saying, you got to wear masks, you got to take care. Precautions have to be taken.
So masks. See, for me, I'm one of those. I come from that school of thought that it's your personal belief. The mask that you're wearing is never to protect you. It's to protect the other person.
Okay.
Right. So that is the first thing that you need to understand.
So what do you mean? Explain.
So if you have a cold.
Okay.
And you are coughing, it's your bounden duty to wear a mask because you should not be affecting anybody else. It is your civic duty.
Even if you have a common cold?
Even if you have a common cold. Because even a common cold, why should somebody else get common cold from you? So that is nice. That is good. But let's not take it to a point where you tell everybody to wear a mask.
Because make it compulsory.
See, it is so funny. I've said this before even. I've just flown in yesterday night, very late night. You walk into the airport, people tell you to wear a mask.
Yeah, compulsory. at the
Compulsory.
entrance.
You're sitting at the guy next door, he's bloody coughing next to you. With that mask, how much are you protected? It doesn't make sense. So these are some of the practices that we need to kind of refine. It doesn't make sense.
But today, travel without vaccine, this now, they say vaccine is validity some 8-9 months. So beyond that, you got to vaccinate. Others, you can't travel. What is the?
No, I think that also is off now, because a lot of the countries are not forcing you to use that. See, there is no vax mandate at the moment for traveling.
Okay.
Airlines make it. Certain countries say, even the countries have not said. If you look at some of the visa requirements, they don't ask you whether you're vaccinated. They ask you
whether
that
you're positive,
your RT-PCR is positive or negative.
Okay.
Now they say that can be waived off if you're
vaccinated. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So it is, nobody has made it mandatory. Why? Simply because when you look at a vaccine is supposed to prevent the disease. This vaccine is not preventing the disease, but it's actually reducing it. No government wants you to unnecessarily take something which is required. So it is left to your individual decision whether you want to do it. There is always an advisory that if you don't want to if you've not had COVID and you don't want to kind of have a heavy infection, it's good to have a booster. I have not been advising any of my patients to go ahead. I leave it to them and to their better judgment.
But see now, somebody has taken a vaccine. Now, will that effect of the vaccine being taken, will it continue, or is going to die down?
No.
So you got to take a tablet like.
No. So there is enough evidence that has come that there is. Okay. So what is this evidence based on? You need to understand. There is the antibodies which don't show after 6 or 8 months, and on that basis they say that the vaccine effect is gone.
Okay.
But that is not a fact. What happens is there is the other innate immunity that is already existing, which is built up, which has got memory T cells, which when you get a fresh infection will create the antibodies.
They remember that.
Yeah, they will create the antibodies. So there is evidence to the fact that if you have taken a vaccine or if you have had COVID, it is a long-term immunity.
Okay.
There is evidence to that fact. Unfortunately, that evidence is not on the fore because there's so much of noise that people should take the vaccine.
Okay.
But there is that evidence. So if you have taken a vaccine, but more than taking a vaccine, if you have been infected with COVID, the chances of you getting any serious COVID infection beyond is much lower because you do have that immunity in it.
Okay. So basically, I don't know. So it's 50-50?
It's not 50-50. It's quite certain that you will have it.
You have some
you have protection, and that's why there is a lot of talk that the Omicron is the vaccine that the pharma companies could not give you. So God sent vaccine. That's because, and so a lot of people who didn't get infected earlier are getting infected now.
No, correct.
So probably over the next 2-3 years you'll see very few cases of this. Because everybody is getting it, and if they get it, they'll get it very mild, and you won't even know that it was.
You get mild, maybe some list like this,
and it goes off.
But then, hopefully, doctor, that now this is some sort of a thing, because COVID for many, it has basically stopped. It shut down countries, it shut down economies, it shut down jobs, it shut everything down. It's a lot of people were literally on the streets. As you are aware, in the first and second waves, it was quite bad. So you feel that we should not shut down things are not going to be so bad.
I don't think
as
so.
It was.
I don't think so. See, you look at in the hospitalizations. Tell me how many you've had? How many? 97 new cases yesterday. How many were hospitalized?
Yesterday 82. Today 112.
How many hospitalized?
On Thursday 100.
Hardly any hospitalized. These are not serious infections. It's like counting the number of people who have had common cold.
Okay.
Have you counted the number of people who have had common cold? No.
True. Yeah.
Are you counting the number of people who have got TB and dying from TB today? No. Are you shutting down the place for people who are dying of TB? No. Are you shutting down your roads because there are more number of road accidents than COVID deaths today? Why don't you shut your roads down if that is the...
And Goa has got like a very, very high number of fatalities.
Absolutely. So your road accidents are more than what COVID is killing you today. So you can't be shutting down cities or anything for that. I mean, it's laughable if people do that.
Thanks, doctor. It's been a pleasure, and maybe hopefully this will send a message that you need to be a little careful, take your precautions, take your vitamin Ds, VCs, and whatever. And most important, The minute you get a symptom, go and meet the doctor, get treated. Probably this is something that even in the last waves, all the medical practitioners, including you, were advising. Don't wait.
Yes.
Go.
Absolutely.
That is the
earlier the treatment, the best is your solution. There's no other go to it, and it is here to stay. So please be advised that it is here to stay.
Thanks, doctor. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are out of time, and thanks. It's been a pleasure hosting you again today.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you. And keep watching Goa 365.